get a Vinnie Paul snare, get the
the
misery business
snare
sound
from God. All I want is the misery business snare, but without a snakeskin print.
That honestly might be like one of the biggest plot twists of my entire obsession with music production my entire life, is finding out that was played on a Vinnie Paul snare.
Welcome to Noise Floor, a podcast about music and our favorite artists' discographies. I'm Matt Kistler.
And I'm Troy Sennett.
And today we are doing something a little bit different than we've done before. We are still doing our kind of traditional palate cleanser between series. But today we're covering a band that doesn't technically exist, but does exist in our hearts. Today we're going to be talking about the band Josie and the Pussycats and their sole full-length, the soundtrack to the movie Josie and the Pussycats 2001. This album was released ahead of the movie's release on March 27th on Epic Records or Mega Records, depending on who you ask, in anticipation of the movie, which came out on my 13th birthday, April 11th of 2001. It was a different time, but Troy, I know you had not seen the movie prior to this last week, but what's your history with this soundtrack?
Literally had not heard the songs either. I knew nothing about this.
I didn't know that. That's surprising to me.
My only relationship to Josie and the Pussycats is like, it was like a cartoon that I saw, commercials for, or like would sometimes flip through on Cartoon Network when I was looking for Scooby-Doo or Speed Racer. This is like not a thing that I really knew anything about outside of, I guess, having listened to the episode of Blank Check about it at some point in, when I was going through the back catalog. But no, this was I knew it was kind of a beloved cult movie. I knew that it was a beloved soundtrack. I may have at some point known that Adam Schlesinger worked on it. But other than that, this was a totally new experience for me this week.
Wow. Okay, now I'm really glad we did this.
Yeah, same. It was awesome.
Yeah, no. I saw this movie in theaters when it came out. I don't know if I saw it the day it came out, but it had to have been pretty close because I don't think this movie had a very long run. I didn't check the dates, but I know I was very excited about it, and I know a lot of people were very excited about it, despite the fact that it was very much advertised as just kind of like it had the 90s movie guy voice in the trailer. It certainly did not seem to be about like a capitalist hellscape, like underground teen manipulation scheme movie, but it was, and it absolutely rules. And this soundtrack is a large part of what makes the movie so great.
Since it came out on your birthday, did you like drag a bunch of friends to see it or anything?
I truly do not remember. I was gonna text my parents and be like, hey, did I, like, was this my birthday thing back in 2001? But I told my mom that we were doing this next, and she was like, oh, I remember the cartoon, and like had nothing to say about the movie. So I'm like, so you didn't see the movie with me? Who did? I literally don't remember. This was
you could have gotten dropped off
almost
at the
25
theater.
years ago. yeah, it's fine. I was old enough. But yeah, I don't know. Like, like I said, this was a huge flop. I'm gonna try not to talk too much about the movie itself, because we're here to talk about the soundtrack. But like, it is kind of a fascinating thing to talk about a soundtrack like this, because I find often that media about music has trouble rising to the occasion when it comes to like when in the fiction the band is like the most popular band in the world, or like a really innovative band, and you have to write original music around that. Like, that is a tough thing to rise to, and it often does not work, except for when you have Adam Schlesinger involved.
Right, I would say
the
only two times that it's ever really worked are this and That Thing You Do, and there's a common denominator there, and that's Adam Schlesinger from Fountains of Wayne.
There sure is. Yeah, and like, just as a note on the production here, a lot of people worked on this album. We will talk about that probably a little more as we get into the songs, but kind of the main producers and like figures here were Babyface produced a large chunk of the first half of the songs. Adam Schlesinger produced most of the back half of the album, and as it stands, the track list on streaming, there are also the 2 DuJour songs on this record, which were produced by Presidential Campaign and Kevin Thomas. Oh no, never mind. Kevin Thomas mixed. It was Giuliano Franco who also produced one of the DuJour tracks. But yeah, like you said, the common denominator here is definitely Adam Schlesinger. Babyface had not really produced this kind of music before, but kind of it seems like found this as a launching point to do so, because he ended up producing a couple of songs on Infinity on High, and ultimately went on to work on more music that kind of sounds like this. For anybody uninitiated, go listen to this soundtrack, obviously. But like it is a pop rock, pop punk album for the most part. I hear a lot of Green Day, a lot of Blink-182, a lot of just like more, power pop influence.
Yeah,
in general.
90s power pop.
Yeah.
You mentioned you're talking about how it's in movies about bands. It's always like you always struggle with you can only really buy in if the song is actually as good as the story is making you think that it is. And the story of this movie does not require the songs to be as good as they are, because to spoil a bit of the movie, the movie is about a record label brainwashing people using subliminal messaging in songs. So even if the songs were bad, you could almost play it off as a that's the joke, that's what the movie's about. But the songs actually rock, and that makes it all the better, because then they're fun to listen to.
Yeah, it's it was, I guess, not surprising, but like really cool to kind of read about the background of the writing of these songs, because the track that opens the album, 3 Small Words, was written like pretty late in the game compared to a lot of the other stuff on this soundtrack. And the 2 directors, whose names I am blanking on right now,
Harry Elfont and Deborah Jesus Christ Kaplan.
Yeah, okay. They mentioned that they went to write 3 Small Words, and like they were kind of in a place where they were, they had this movie that is about a band that, gets plucked from obscurity and then kind of turns into this effectively a product. And they were like, yeah, it in a weird way, it kind of felt like, with all of the polish that was on the songs that we already had, we were kind of already in that space where like it kind of sounded like it was being more manufactured than something that was recorded by a band that's rehearsing in their garage or whatever, which explains why 3 Small Words rules so hard. But I guess I would, backtracking a little bit, I would be remiss to not mention that the voice of Josie, as it exists on the soundtrack, is done by Kay Hanley, who is the lead singer of Letters to Cleo, who she came in and replaced someone else who I believe remained unnamed in all of the interviews I read. But I guess they had somebody else. It just like wasn't quite working out because they were like kind of trying to, watch how their voice matched up with Rachel Lee Cook, more or less lip syncing. She was originally maybe going to try to sing some of these songs, but it just didn't end up working out. But Rachel Lee Cook, Rosario Dawson, and Tara Reid do all end up providing background vocals on this record, which I think is really cool. They all did this kind of what they called a band camp, where they spent like every day for 3 months like learning how to play their instruments and how to like play and sing at the same time and stuff like that, which again, they maybe didn't have to go that hard, but I guess there was what was the movie that came out around the time that this was being produced where like somebody was getting like raked or
It's like it's a jazz guy movie.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was. But it's some movie where the sax playing or whatever is just like obviously not what's going on in the audio.
And that movie was Lost Highway. Just kidding, it was not Lost Highway. Sorry. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. Like I just kind of to wrap up my overall thoughts. I was enamored with this movie and this soundtrack when it came out. I have the CD somewhere at my parents' house, and have probably since 2001. But this was originally or eventually reissued by Mondo on its 15th anniversary on vinyl, which I think alleviated a lot of people's maybe beef with the way that this was laid out, because the structure of the soundtrack is you get 10 songs of Josie and the Pussycats, then 2 DuJour songs, and then one more Josie and the Pussycats song, which is the theme song for the movie / a play on the theme song of the original show, which if you listen to the Blank Check episode about this movie, it's a point of contention for many, many people, apparently. But when it was reissued, it was issued as one 12-inch disc with all of the Josie songs, and then a separate 7-inch with the DuJour songs on it, which honestly, I kind of love that. I think that's a great way to present this record.
For sure.
But yeah, did you have anything else you wanted to say about kind of the album as a whole, the movie as a whole, before we dive into the songs?
I, as someone who is often bothered by misrepresentations of like performance or studio recording or whatever in a movie, like I found them very believable as a band, which is, again, I think it's a well-written, well-directed movie, and the songs being so good only helps that. The recording studio stuff in this movie is absurd. A lot of the like band life stuff in this movie is absurd. It's an absurd movie in a way that is super fun and endearing because it's very I think prescient about where the music industry was going and very knowing about where it was at the time also. And I don't know, it's critiques of consumerism, of capitalism, of the industry, all feel very fresh even today, 25 years later. So in all those ways, I think it's a great watch. I highly recommend this movie. But to get into the music, like, I don't know, this was like, truly could not believe I had not heard this stuff before. Like, injected into my veins, perfect, pristine, power pop punk. Like, they talk about in the interviews, they talked about like we tried to craft like songs that would have been like an all girl Blink-182. And that's kind of what a lot of this sounds like, which is pretty much perfect. It doesn't really bother me that like the songs are too good to have been recorded by like a band playing in their garage. Just even though that's the kind of thing that I noticed it, I immediately just put it out of my mind because it's like I don't even care either. But both the movie is having enough fun with the characters and the songs are so great that any of those in a worse movie, those things would have bothered me more than they do.
For sure, yeah. And like, I mean, the production on, every song after Three Small Words is kind of explained away by the mega sound, a MacGuffin in the film that makes songs sound better and also implants subliminal messages into the songs.
Right, that's a great joke.
It's so good. It's just for anybody who hasn't seen the film and is still listening for some reason, it is a just enormous white console with these very big shiny chrome knobs that it is occasionally futzed with during the movie, and it's kind of great.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess we should probably just talk about the songs at this point.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah. So the movie and the soundtrack kick off with Three Small Words, which is you mentioned sort of a song that they wrote to have sort of a scrappy intro for the band. It's in the movie, it's presented as this very glossy like opening credits song that then when it sort of cuts at the very end to showing that they're just playing this in a bowling alley and no one is paying attention. But in their minds, they're the greatest rock band in the world, which is also sort of what the song is about. It's this like high energy, clever, bratty, sexy, confident like pop punk song, and it just rules. This is I think like a perfect song for both for this movie and also maybe in general.
Yeah, it is. Like, I'm gonna say it. This is still my favorite song on this entire soundtrack.
Oh, I agree.
Like unquestionably, it does almost it almost creates the problem that I have with another music movie that came out a lot more recently, K-pop Demon Hunters, where the band writes their best song at the beginning of the movie, and then like the next things are supposed to be better than that. I think in the fiction of this movie that's not necessarily true, but like, let's be real, if you've seen K-pop Demon Hunters, you know Golden is the one that's stuck in your head for the rest of your life, and that's the first thing you hear in the movie. But I think that's like, there's a similar thing going on here where like, when I think about this soundtrack, I think about this song first before anything else. It is it's just a straight up banger. It's a like neat and tidy, like slightly under 3 minutes as I remember it. There's so much cheeky innuendo in this song. I vaguely remember Devin and Harry talking about how the kind of challenge that they set for themselves was to see how inappropriate they could make it without somebody getting mad at them. And I think they accomplished that here.
And it's not the only song on the record that sort of pushes those boundaries as much as it can.
far from it. Something that I do love about this song is that I always like immediately transition into Nice Guys Finish Last by Green Day out of this song, because it is the same chord progression. It just has a way more wild bass line. I love that song too. So no shock that this one really hits for me.
Yeah, it's great. I want to cover this song with one of my bands.
I would love nothing more.
My goal is now to convince someone else that I play music with to play this song live with me.
That would be so sick. Did you we might want to talk this a little bit more in the like legacy part, but did you happen to get a chance to watch that Charlie Bliss cover set?
I skipped around it and I watched a few songs and it sounded amazing.
It is amazing. Worth watching. But yeah, I also would love nothing more than to cover at least this song, if not the whole soundtrack at some point.
Yeah. Next up is Pretend to Be Nice. This one's written by Adam Schlesinger, and this is the one that sort of is the beginning of the we started from zero arc of the movie. Like, this is about sort of being in love with someone who doesn't really acknowledge you or is actively mean to you, and it's got this kind of like nice guy gets punched around wit and perspective that I feel like a lot of great Fountains of Wayne songs do. Like, I don't know how else to describe it, but like I feel like he's so good at writing from the perspective of like somebody who's getting pushed into a locker, if that makes sense. But not like being mad about it. And I don't know how else to describe it. I think I just love his writing. And there's lines in this song, like even in that first verse, like he looks at me with those innocent eyes. It looks like you're wearing some kind of disguise because your hair sticks up and your shoes are untied. I hope you got that shirt at half price. Like that last line is so like I feel like I could have called that out as an Adam Schlesinger lyric even if I hadn't seen the credits.
I honestly totally agree. It has his signature all over it.
Yeah. I mean, and the guitar riffs in the song are so good. The way that it moves from this like sort of loud rocking verses into this post-chorus thing that's the can't you just pretend to be nice, that is just like repeated and so like emotionally bare in the middle of this sort, not quite heavy, but a little more aggressive song. Yeah,
for sure. I really love the little ooey ooey ooh interlude, and I love the story behind how Adam like kind of brought that to the studio, and he was like, "Yeah, I got this part," and then he like sang it for Babyface, and he was like, "But I don't really know like what like instrument to have play that," and Babyface just goes, "You've already got it, dude. Like, what are you talking about?" Yeah, just great production decision on Babyface's part on this particular song.
Yeah, I mean, he really like I think nails it. Every decision in these songs feels so right. And I mean, he like you said, he was not really a pop punk producer before. and is not the person that I expected to see on the credits for this, but clearly an extremely talented musician.
Yeah, absolutely nailed it on all of the songs that he produced, no question.
Yeah, this one was in my head like all day today. It's a great song.
Yeah, one last thing I want to point out is the like kind of subtle modulation that happens towards the end. Just, you know, any song worth its salt that's gonna, you know, take the airwaves by storm has a little key change in it.
Of course, you need it. After that is Spin Around, a song written by Adam Duritz from the Counting Crows. Another
name I did not expect to see on the credits when I finally looked at them.
Yeah, I mean, he's written, you know, or the Counting Crows together have written plenty of songs for movies. I mean, I think Accidentally in Love from the Shrek movies
Right.
Shrek 2 is kind of the most well-known one. But yeah, I mean, he's just much like Fountains of Wayne, much like Letters to Cleo. You know, he's just one of these guys that just sort of dominated the 90s with that sort of I don't know, just the poppy alternative stuff that is also that's so well written and so catchy, and so yeah, it makes perfect sense that he's involved.
Yeah, for sure. I love that the intro of this song is like so like serene and calm. It almost sounds like it could be the intro to the next song.
Yeah, it like tricks you into a ballad mode.
Yeah, it's a really neat little trick that they pull. This also pulls the like trick of like there's like a mini refrain that happens. Every single verse starts with the line "spin around," where the title comes from. And yeah, I don't know, like it's again not shocking given the crew that was behind these songs, but like you notice all these like really like neat little tricks that are pulled to like kind of make these songs unique but still like feel like they're part of like in a way an album here.
Yeah, and it's sort of continuing the emotional arc of the last song, this, you know, frustration with not feeling like you're making any progress in life. It's funny to like, this is basically the soundtrack of a musical, and we're like treating it as a concept album by this fictional band. It invites all these different ways of interpreting the record, or like the ways of thinking about it, which is kind of fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Because then next you get to You Don't See Me, which is the sort of aching acoustic ballad that slowly builds and adds all these elements as it goes along. But this is the sort of emotional low, like right before their career really kicks off by this sort of insane accidental running into this record exec.
Yeah, or getting run into by him more accurately.
Right, yeah.
It's again, I don't want to harp on like the movie part too much, but I love that this song this song plays for an absurd amount of time, honestly, just because it kind of soundtracks the entire time that Josie is getting brainwashed, because it contains the subliminal message for her to abandon the rest of her band and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I love that this song in particular is playing when she is not going to the show where Alan M., her love interest, is playing a song that is effectively like his perspective, same feeling. Like that is a really like neat move that they pulled in the movie.
Yeah, it's good filmmaking.
Yeah, it turns out they made some smart decisions while accidentally making a cult film.
Yeah, as I like look through these lyrics, it's one of those songs that is like, every lyric is really good. I don't think there's like a single couplet or anything that I could pull out as like, this is amazing, but it all, and especially in the performance, I mean, Kay Hanley just absolutely kills this entire record. She talks about like, she would do these songs over and over again, and when she would finally be like, my voice can't take it anymore, it's shredded, they were like, that's the one.
Yeah.
She's really at like the physical limits of her performance, which I think is like brings out the best in a lot of these songs. I mean, this one is not as straining as some of the louder ones, but I think it's still so well done.
Yeah, no, it's an absolutely incredible performance. But yeah, like it's fairly minimal for the most part, but we get that part before the bridge where like the piano and everything comes in, which I really, really love. There's like that big drum build after the crystal and see-through and not enough to you line. Like it's an incredible ballad.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Next up is You're a Star, which brings in Anna Warrenker of That Dog, which is another fitting person to be involved in this, because there's a bit of like Riot Girl energy to some of these to some of these performances too. And this is another rocker. It did jump out at me. This has the line, "Don't be fooled about what you see in the movies, magazines, and on TV," which feels like a bit of foreshadowing for where the movie is going story wise.
It certainly does.
Yeah, but it's got that like rebellious spirit that embodies so many of these songs.
Yeah, and kind of to your point on the guest vocals on the song, the gang vocals on the pre-choruses here are just really, really great.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like even still I'm just like, the first time because I listened to the soundtrack once before I watched the movie, because I wanted to experience it that way, and I was just like, my jaw was on the floor, like how good all these songs are.
Yeah, no, it's wild. Like I had never experienced this independent of like having the movie available, but like there was a long stretch of time where like I didn't like revisit the movie, but like still would occasionally throw the soundtrack on. So like, yeah, I totally believe it.
Yeah. So that's sort of the first half of the record. That's what's produced by Babyface, and I think is the core songs, the first, the first chunk that they recorded before deciding that they wanted to make it sort of a real like full musical, full album, and they bring in Adam Schlesinger to produce the rest of the tracks. And that's how it went down, right? Like, I'm not misrepresenting that. Yeah. So this one next up is Shapeshifter, which was written by Kay Hanley, and it's where Schlesinger takes over as producer, and I think this is another great song. I don't know if I have like as much to say about some of these. They're not as like they're more thematically connected to the story than like here's the beats of the movie. But this one really deals with authenticity, and which is authenticity as a consumer, I guess, as like a person existing in subcultures that are suddenly thrust into the spotlight by major corporations is the sort of the crux of the movie, and that's a lot of what's going on in this song.
Yeah, and then there's like kind of a layer of interpersonal authenticity, like the ways that you show up for the different people in your life, or adjust your personality in weird ways to meet what you think their expectations are. Like it is this is one of those songs where I'm like, oh yeah, no, like this absolutely 100% unquestionably could exist outside of this movie, and like which makes sense given that Kay Hanley brought it. But yeah, no, like I think the song really rules. I weirdly love the snare sound on this track. But like huge chorus. We've got like that intro is insane. The like it's just kind of like an octave core type thing on the guitar, but I'm a huge fan of that kind of thing, so it works.
It's a really cool riff. It's like it stood out to me as like my favorite guitar riff on the record, probably.
For sure. Also the line "boys like you don't cost a dime," great diss on the maybe non-specific person or persons this is about.
Yeah, it's a good one.
The other thing, the like really fun trick that this song pulls is the last chorus starts halfway through the chorus. We start on that gatecrasher rehasher line instead of on shifter guest lister.
Yeah.
And it makes it sound like we've modulated, but we actually haven't.
It just throws you off a little bit.
Yeah, it's so cool and such a neat little trick that like I don't feel like I see very often. Like usually when you're putting the chorus at the end, you just kind of put the chorus at the end. But like,
yeah, or you'll do like a quiet chorus and then into a big chorus or whatever. But yeah, no, this one does it a little bit differently.
Yeah, I dig it. I dig it quite a bit.
Same. After that is I Wish You Well, which I think is the standout of the back half of the record for me. This one is another one by Anna Warrenker. A lot of cool stuff in the song. There's a great little bass line under the bridge. A lot of great guitar work on this one. A song that just is sort of about knowing that you deserve the best, even if other people don't think so. And it's got this kind of like, I don't know, I guess I would describe the chorus as kind of like I don't know. It's this like bittersweet element to it, but is also this like, I know things will be, or like, I know it's sort of a living well is the best revenge idea, I guess.
Yeah, this is a as maybe Janelle Monáe once put it, forgiving your frenemies type song.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, no, like that chorus is short, but it's really, really great. Like it conveys a lot in literally 2 lines.
Yeah, and then
I love it.
Turns a little bit at the end to I wish myself the world I'm dreaming of, and then you get to the all of the above thing. But yeah, no, it's it's short and sweet.
It really is. Also, I love how grungy the heavy guitar parts are on this song. It's just like absolutely Fuzz City, in a way that I don't think any other song on this soundtrack is.
Yeah, it's I can't believe I never heard this before.
I can't either. I genuinely thought you had at least heard the soundtrack before.
Nope.
Wild, man.
Yeah.
Awesome.
After that is Real Wild Child, which is a cover of a Johnny O'Keefe song that was from the late 1950s. Although this cover probably owes a little more to the Iggy Pop version.
I think it definitely owes quite a bit to the Iggy Pop version.
I mean, this is just like a vibe sort of song for the record, I guess. It's like here's this sort of aggressive, loose energy, and it feels kind of untamed, and it reminds me of the cover of Bad Reputation that's on the Shrek soundtrack a little bit, just in
yes.
Here's a classic song that we're going to play faster and louder, and it's more about the energy than anything else.
Yeah. This is very much a if you told me that this was just Letters to Cleo covering the Iggy Pop version of this song, I would believe you.
Yeah.
Devoid of other context.
Yeah, I don't have a ton more about this one, but it just feels like a here. I don't want to call it filler because it's a pretty good cover, but it's kind of that.
I think it and the cover of Money later on, like kind of both have a similar vibe of like they're more rock and roll than like power pop necessarily, because they are covers of like kind of more rock and roll era songs. And they're very good versions of those songs. They just like don't stand out as much as the originals.
Yeah, is this in the movie just like briefly?
Yes.
Okay, because I know Money is.
Yeah, Money definitely is. Real Wild Child is also in there. So I've seen this movie so many times, I should know.
I've seen it once, so I feel like I have plausible deniability for remembering things.
Yeah, no, I just have no memory. No, just kidding. I just literally don't remember where. I want to say it's the makeover scene, but I don't think it's that, because I think that's one of the originals. I'll look it up later. I will not edit it in though, because I don't want to pretend I know more than I do.
Yeah. But yeah, then after that is Come On, sort of the last real like Pussycats song on here. Because it's just after that it's Money and then the DuJour stuff and the theme song. But it's another rocker. This one really leans into the themes of like individuality. It was also a lot of urgency and confidence. Basically, just like all these songs feel like they take one of these big ideas from the movie and sort of distill it down into 3 minutes of pop punk.
Yeah, no, it definitely 100% that. I love that this one in particular borrows the Billy Joel vocal cadence from We Didn't Start the Fire.
It kind of does, yeah.
Yeah, it took me a minute to like recognize that that's what it was, but because I was like, oh, is this like an Elvis Costello thing? No, it's literally just We Didn't Start the Fire, cramming as many words as you can into a very small space.
Yeah.
Something that I did not notice on this song until this kind of recent set of listen-throughs is that like kind of neat clean guitar part that's going on in the background. Like it's way down in the mix, but I just think that's a neat touch, and like goes to show that like a lot of love and care went into writing and producing these songs.
Yeah, I mean, it's just elements like those to just make them feel like something more than just quote unquote just a movie soundtrack song. Yeah, it's good stuff.
It's great.
I feel like we mentioned this earlier when we were talking about this. Like we were worried this like every song is just like, yeah, it's really good, but also like every song is really good.
Yeah, unfortunately, my take on every song on this album is Yeah, man, it bangs. I don't know what to tell you. Have you seen this fucking movie?
Yeah, I mean, even this cover of Money, not the Pink Floyd song. That would be kind of fun though.
That would be pretty funny.
This is an old Motown tune written by Berry Gordy and Janie Bradford. Was I think most famously probably covered by the Beatles.
Yes.
But it's just this obviously tongue-in-cheek riff on consumerism, and it plays during the mall scene, right, in the movie.
Yes.
When they're
Yeah.
there's this insane amount of product placement that it's so much that it becomes a joke on itself, and along with all the subliminal messaging and stuff that's going on, it's pretty fun.
I loved that Angela on the Blank Check episode described this movie as the Wayne's World product placement scene, but a whole movie.
Yeah,
it's really apt. I love that on this song they left in the I guess I shouldn't say left in, but like the part at the beginning that is just, this is for all you shoppers out there.
Yeah.
Like as if you could inject any more sarcasm into this song. You just kind of just got to put it over the edge there.
Yeah, it makes sense that this is sort of tacked onto the back half of the album.
Yeah.
But I'm glad it's here, just in terms of having all the stuff that they recorded.
For sure.
And now we're at the DuJour songs.
We sure are.
Which for anyone who has listened this far and hasn't seen the movie, DuJour is a boy band that is sort of the previous big thing before the Josie and the Pussycats are sort of taken on by this label and made to be the next big thing. DuJour is like obviously a riff on the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and all
so
of
much.
the boy bands of the time. And this DuJour Around the World is the first of these two DuJour songs, which is like, the thing that stood out to me about this song is especially like 3 Small Words and a lot of these the Pussycat songs are confident in like a strutting, sassy, bratty way, and this song has this it's like overconfident but in a smarmy way that is so annoying, and like it's intentionally so, like it's what they were going for and it works so well. But that contrast really stuck out to me as I was listening today.
Yeah, it is palpable. Also, just like the insane casting on the band themselves is absolutely wild in the movie.
Who all is in it?
It is Seth Green
is the main guy. Right.
Hold on, because they only get them for the first scene of the movie. The latter scene, they only were able to get one of them. And the rest of them are just like in full body casts because apparently they couldn't.
Donald Faison, Breckenmeyer, and Seth Green. Yeah, okay.
People from the late 90s and early 2000s whose faces I recognize but names I can never remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a lot to say about this song beyond the fact that it is obviously a riff on the Backstreet Boys. A lot of this is just a like, we're the best and we're gonna let you know it type thing, and again that is very intentional. Like that is the point of the song, is like they are at the top of the world at this point in their career. Nobody rocks the mic like them, obviously.
Yeah,
and then they die in a plane crash.
Right.
So.
And that's the thing that is so fun about this movie, is because when I listened to the soundtrack for the first time, I was like, oh, these guys are gonna be like the villains of the movie, or like the soda pop band in K-pop Demon Hunters. I was
right.
Like,
yeah.
They're gonna be the antagonists in some way, and they're not. They are used and thrown out by the same system that tries to turn Josie and the Pussycats into this like tool for brainwashing, basically. And I mean, it's the when the manager walks into the front of the plane and is like, send the Chevy to the levee. That's one of the funniest things in the world.
That's so funny. Apparently the pilot is just Harry Elfont.
Okay,
the
director cameo. Okay,
yep.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, that's so funny. Yeah, he just walks into the cockpit, says that, puts on a parachute, opens the door. hey, does that guy with a parachute look a lot like God?
It's
Great
good.
stuff.
And yeah, I mean, just in terms of like the Babyface as an executive producer as well as a music producer of this, of like, yes, let's farm these two songs out to a different production team who is experienced in writing this kind of music, and do, you know, the best but also the most annoying version of this boy band thing. I don't know, it's a great decision. It works so well.
Yeah, and then taken to a different level on Backdoor Lover.
On Backdoor Lover, yeah, which is, I mean, they're like basically parodying the "I Want It That Way" video in the movie when they're doing the dance at the airport, which is this insane scene that is like, there are no speakers, they have mics, but like, you know, this is when my like music brain takes over, and I'm like, where is the sound supposed to be coming from for all these people who are screaming for them in this performance? It's you know, just on the edge of being able to suspend disbelief there. But this song is absolutely like, you know, lambasting the like crazy masculinity and homoeroticism that was just like ever present in the boy bands at the time, and just absolutely, you know, having so much fun with the innuendos about backdoors and all of that. It's quite a song.
Yeah, the line that stood out to me most on this listen through was in the pre-chorus, just lying on your bed staring up at the moon. Yeah, I bet you are. It's so good.
Every line in the song is so perfectly goofy, and like, it's not like it's aged badly. I don't think it's like homophobic or anything at all. I think it is. I think it is poking fun at the like, here's 5 oiled up guys with their shirts off, you know, dancing, and that they're supposed to be the picture of masculinity, but then they also are these, like, you know, behind the scenes are these absolutely like childish douches.
Yeah, right. I do think it's clever that neither of the DuJour songs is like at all about women. Like,
right, yeah,
period.
that's on purpose.
I know, it's great. The word girls is used once in DuJour Around the World, and it's meeting different girls on tour, and that's it. That's the only mention of a woman or a person of any specific gender at all.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, it, like, again, it just kind of shows like how much thought went into all these songs, even the goofy fucking ones.
Yeah. I just thinking about this song, it's too good.
It's so great.
Yep, and then you get to the finale of the album, which is the updated theme song of the classic Josie and the Pussycats cartoon, updated with references to Marshall Stacks and Billboard charts and all that. I mean, this is
a little less groovy than the cartoon theme song.
A little less groovy, but much more in my pop punk wheelhouse.
Oh, for sure, yeah. I this is a very welcome update to the song for me too.
Yeah. I don't feel like I have a ton to say about this as a song, but it's you know, it's a perfect thing to play over the credits of a movie like this.
Exactly. Yeah. It is. They had to do the theme song. I'm really glad that they didn't, you know, just stick with the original lyrics. I'm glad they did a little bit of an update to make it feel more in line with what's going on here and the type of music that we've been hearing for the last, well, if you're listening to the album, 30-ish minutes.
Yeah,
the movie's like 90 minutes ish.
It would be weird if they didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Change it at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's Josie and the Pussycats, the soundtrack, the movie. I'm so happy that you picked this. I had so much fun.
I'm so glad we talked about this. This is legitimately one of my favorite movies. Like, I recognize that it's not perfect, but it's still a 5-star one for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, I gave it 4 stars on Letterboxd. I just think it is. There are things about it that I think, not that haven't aged well, but just like are kind of tropey and
oh, sure,
very, you know, this is what you expect to happen, especially that sort of like the sort of final scene at the concert with the crowd, you know, the guys crowd surfing and they're like yelling at each other. I was like, this is too much of this. It's gone on too long.
If it weren't for some of the songs being like specifically referencing like this like kind of weirdly double-sided unrequited love, like that whole plot line could have been thrown out and it would not have made a difference to me.
Right, yeah. But yeah, just as a screed against capitalism and consumerism and the major label machine and all of that, like it so totally worked as a, like I said, as a commentary and also as just a batch of really, really, really great songs.
Yeah, and like this again, like I've mentioned multiple times that this movie absolutely tanked at the box office, but like it really like inspired a lot of people to go form bands. I've already mentioned Charlie Bliss, like very influential to them, very influential to I think it's Sadie Dupuis of
Yeah.
Speedy Ortiz too.
I mean, in the big oral history that came out in around the first vinyl release, Mitski is quoted in there as talking about how, like, she's like, I watched this movie to learn how to like hold a guitar and perform.
Yeah, and like I'm not gonna like I was already like pretty into the idea of forming a band at 13 and like had already like kind of started doing that with my friends, but like this really like amped me up for it even more seeing this back in 2001. And I'm a dude, so I can only imagine how like incredibly inspiring it must have been for like, you know, 11, 12, 13-year-old girls at the time, like
Yeah, absolutely.
who this film was aimed at, even though it like maybe is more adult than that implies. But I think the net good of this film really far outweighs any like weird financial shit that happened with it. I say as a person who was not at all financially involved in this film.
Yeah. No, it's, I mean, like all those cult movies, I'm sure it is done well enough in the long, you know, the long run of you know, VHS tapes and DVDs and streaming and all that.
Yeah, I was trying to see if there were any 25th anniversary screenings happening around here, and there do not appear to be, and that makes me a little sad.
That is a bummer.
Yeah. Well, maybe one will come up.
Hopefully. All right, you got a random recommendation for this week?
I do, and it's the one I should have done last week because it would have been a little closer to its release. But I want to recommend a new album from our friends in Broken Left Foot. It is called Adapter. It came out on the 12th of March, aka 312 Day, a very important day in Chicago. Really, mostly it's just our area code. But yeah, Broken Left Foot, an incredible local, like, I guess you could call them alt-rock band. They've got tinges of emo, tinges of grunge. I wrote a review for this for the radio station that I volunteer for, and by review I mean a thing that kind of primes DJs on like what to expect from the album. And I concluded the review with, if you've liked distorted guitar music at any point in the last 30 years, you will find something that you will enjoy about this album. And I think that's kind of like the summation of my thoughts on it. It is a really stellar record. I've liked this band for a long time, irrespective of the fact that I'm friends with them. And I just think that this album is really, really accomplished and polished, and I'm very excited to see them play some of these songs for the first time tomorrow as we're recording this. Sorry you missed the release show if you're listening to this now.
Yeah, fully co-signed. This album is awesome.
Yeah. What you got?
I'm going to recommend an album that also came out this past week as we're recording, the new album by Sweet Pill called Still There's a Glow.
Yes.
This is just an absolute powerhouse of, I guess you call it emo rock. I don't know. You know, they're one of those bands I don't really quite know where they fit in all the subgenres of subgenres. But what I can say is that these songs are great. There's so much energy to them. You know, there's moments on this record that remind me of American Football, and there's moments on this record that remind me of like Brand New Eyes era Paramore. Just spectacular performances all around. Saw them open for the Wonder Years a couple years ago in a very memorable performance, and I'm excited to hopefully see them again sometime in the near future.
Yeah, I fully co-sign this too. That record is so good.
Yeah. All right, coming up next, we have our Mitski series starting next week with Lush. And until then, you can find us on the internet at noisefloorpodcast.com. Follow us on Instagram at noisefloorpod, and send us emails at noisefloorpodcast@gmail.com. We will see you next week.
See you next week.
DuJour Podcast.